What is going on, cadets? Today we're going to be talking about fantasy football, some players you should be avoiding in 2023, and players I'm also going to be targeting as well. So if you have not done so already, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more fantasy content as well. And now that that is out of the way, let's jump right into the video. The first guy we're going to be talking about and avoiding is DeAndre Swift. He's currently going off the board in the 5th round. Now, this is a guy that has made his living in the passing game, catching balls out of the backfield in Detroit. He's moving over to Philadelphia now, where the situation is different. This is an offense where the Eagles and Jalen Hurts were ranked 32nd to passing attempts to the running back position. That was dead last in the league. So he's also going to be lacking goal line carries, with Jalen Hurts doing the rugby scrum for, QB sneaks into the end zone, as well as Rashad Penny might be the goal line guy. So we have probably established that his floor is going to be not so great in the passing game. He's not going to be the goal line back. Why are people drafting DeAndre Swift in the 5th round? Just because the situation's different does not mean it's better. Just because the offense is better does not mean this guy is going to succeed more. And just to piggyback of what I said with him being limited on the goal line, Hurts has 23 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons on the ground. So DeAndre Swift is probably going to be limited. Now, there's a world where DeAndre Swift might be okay for fantasy, but for someone who plays the percentage and odds game, it's more likely than not DeAndre Swift ends up being a wash in 2023. A guy in a similar range that I much rather have is Alexander Mattison. He's going to be a guy that's going to have a safe floor. He's going to have catching 3 or 4 balls per game. He's going to be the goal line back. He's going to be the main back on the ground. Yes, Mattison does lack some upside. He might be an average runner with the football. He might not be efficient running the football. It's not going to be pretty, but we have seen average running backs in fantasy football crack the top 8, win people fantasy leagues. He is more of a safe floor guy that could give you like the 12, 13, 14 fantasy points that you need, rather than a boomer bust running back like DeAndre Swift. Keep in mind, when Cook was absent with injury and Mattison was given the opportunity to be a starter in this Minnesota Vikings offense, Mattison averaged 18.5 fantasy points per game in those starts. So I know it's a small sample size, but keep that in mind. There is some sneaky upside here, and I much rather go with a safer floor back like Mattison than somebody who's going to completely bust and wash like DeAndre Swift. The next guy I will not be drafting in 2023 is Kyle Pitts. He's currently going off the board in the 6th round. That is far too rich for my taste. He is tied to a quarterback in Ritter that is very much unproven. I don't see a scenario where London and Kyle Pitts are going to be both fantasy relevant. I think it's either one or the other. Another end of this is Atlanta did take Bijan Robinson in the top 10. So this offense projects to run the ball like it's 1946 again. Arthur Smith has no problem running the ball regardless of the score of the game. So this could be a scenario where Kyle Pitts very much could be a boomer bust play like the majority of tight ends in this league. So why would I take Kyle Pitts in the 6th when I can probably grab a Dallas Goedert in the 7th, who is going to be, if not just as good, more consistent than Kyle Pitts? He's going to be tied to a better quarterback than Kyle Pitts. And I fully expect this Eagles offense, I really don't have to get into this Eagles offense again. I fully expect them to be just as good as last year, if not better. And he is as safe as they come if you aren't drafting somebody like a Travis Kelce or a Mark Andrews. So pass on Kyle Pitts and go draft yourself a Dallas Goedert later in the draft. And speaking of tight ends, one guy's value that I think is way too high for my liking going off the board in the 4th round is TJ Hawkinson. Now, don't get me wrong, TJ Hawkinson did have a phenomenal year last year. He did have 2 monster games that kind of overinflated his fantasy value. If you really take a look at Hawkinson's fantasy points weekly, he was good. He wasn't great, and he sure as hell wasn't 4th round great. So when we're talking about taking a guy like TJ Hawkinson, I'm going to pass in the 4th round. I much rather have a guy like Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones could be a very big part of this offense for the Packers in 2023. Jordan Love is going to be under center, so this ground game might be something that Jordan Love leans on. Aaron Jones had career highs in targets and catches last year. He doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down on the ground as well. So think about passing on TJ Hawkinson in the 4th. It feels kind of gross. I would be open to drafting TJ Hawkinson if he fell to the middle of the 5th or the end of the 5th, but then and only then I would draft him. So think about getting someone down the line like a Dallas Goedert in the 6th or 7th round. But Aaron Jones is somebody I'm really trying to target in the 4th round for you. That's going to be it for today, guys. We're going to be wrapping up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And leave something down in the comments who you're going to be targeting, who you're going to be avoiding. And if you want more fantasy content like this one, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.